Okay, folks, turn 61. We've hit enchantment level 9. Stark has been empowered in blood. We're actually starting to get some counter mind hunts. So we had a scout killed here by an enemy mage. Also, our stellar focus was dispelled, so that's a little bit unfortunate. We threw out a bunch of mind hunts, couple of mind hunts. We killed Whithorn, who was a commander right here in Sinaphi. And then we arrived and beat up a bunch of Province defense. So we did manage to kill the vampire. And we also killed Domex. So I wonder who Whithorn was, because Domex was the vampire. Whithorn maybe was a scout. In any case, Shaggy the Snail Shaman managed to reduce a hostile seduction attempt. Who could that have been? Oh god. Seduced by a giant crocodile monster. Well, to be fair, it failed. So, Satis has, interestingly, chosen to give Nom Balancer of Scales an Amulet of the Doppelganger, which gives him seduction and stealth. And so he can now seduce people. He's got a Crown of Lead, Ring of Regeneration. All that makes perfect sense. Weirdly enough, he chose to use this seduction ability to attack Shaggy the Snail Shaman, thus exposing Nom to mental attack. So we can now do that. He might be trying to bait Mind Hunts, but I'm not going to cast Mind Hunt at him. I'm going to cast Vengeance of the Dead. We also had several assassinations from Empoisoners, all right here. They must have somehow guessed that I'd forgotten to be patrolling this turn. In any case, I'm patrolling this coming turn, very definitely. And like I said, we're casting Vengeance of the Dead. In fact, we've got a bunch of people who can cast Vengeance of the Dead here. You can cast it, you can cast it, you can cast it. Yeah, you're all going to cast Vengeance of the Dead, because you can all hit him. Vengeance. Where is he? There he is. And Vengeance. And Vengeance. There we go. Okay, lots and lots of Vengeances going down. So we've got 3 there. We've got Thimball casting Vengeance of the Dead. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7 Vengeances of the Dead landing on top of him. And I think statistically one of those should get through and kill him. We'll see. It's possible not. I lost Narian Sea. So we had that big battle in Narian Sea. I was worried that I was going to lose it. And it happened basically exactly the way I was worried about. We have Limni, the Queen of the Lake, and she is geared to hell. She's got magic resistance 27. This is an excellent choice. This makes her very, very hard for me to kill with my remote attack spells. And she's got these water elementals, which I believe she spawns. I think she just spawns water elementals, or can spawn them. And then he's got a whole bunch of merfolk. So I've got a big old bunch of troops here, and I've got a soul warrior, and I've got a hollow knight. But unfortunately, while my troops cleaned up the merfolk pretty easily overall, my great sentries actually took quite a bit of damage, but my Ictiads cleaned them out. A bunch of them then routed from the frighten that Limni is casting with her mask. So the Ictiads ran very quickly. And the Great Sentries got caught up on these water elementals, and with the water elementals 20% regeneration underwater, plus their multiple armor-piercing attacks, they wiped out the Great Sentries very quickly. My Ictiad Shaman back here had actually gotten a kill, so bully for him. But, yeah, my troops routed. So, that was that. So we've lost Narian Sea. That's unfortunate because it means I lost all of the gem income of Narian Sea. We wiped out all his merfolk, and we lowered 2 of his water elementals in size. But this is what I mean when I say that combat underwater is basically determined by number of water elementals. Water elementals are super overwhelming in underwater combat. There really isn't any way to deal with them quite. So, we're basically abandoning the water. Like, Satis is going to take the water. We can't really hold it, which is very unfortunate because there goes a bunch of my death income. We need to wait a couple more turns in order to get Arcane Nexus online. I'm trading 30 death gems for 30 astral pearls with Lothric. Yes, Lothric. Good. Just checking to make sure I wasn't accidentally sending them to Drangleic. And I'm just going to, because Arcane Nexus is 150 pearls. I have 14 per turn now instead of 20. And so then next turn I'll just alchemize everything, I think. So 30 plus my 14, that's 44. We're up to 130. I'll alchemize everything. There is actually a free global enchantment slot, so I'll be able to put it up. And then we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, patrolling, trying to get rid of him. I'm dropping Gobrusius with a huge army with an enormous amount of siege strength. is dropping on Andoria, and the goal there is actually just to generate a reaction, because he's going to hit Andoria, he's going to break the fort in one shot. Meanwhile, my army will move here to Green Coast, so the objective will be to compel Cetis to move significant forces to defend Andoria, and then I can try and bait and switch him and hop those flying troops down to Agenor, and or move my other troops in to attack Nenhaboa. I've got 2 nature mages with Thistle Maces. They are casting Serpent's Blessing, and they are casting Howl, and then hopefully also Mass Regeneration. The army that is going there is quite light on troops, actually. Not many at all. But it's got the Shades, it's got these Tramplers, the Great Stags, and then it has a whole bunch of Moss Knights and a few Great Sentries. Regeneration is good for Moss Knights and Great Sentries. I'm also forming up a Communion. I haven't decided quite what I'm doing with that Communion yet. I've mentioned before that communions are not really my style. I've got Kim here, and Kim is sneaking because Kim has been empowered in death, and so Kim can, once I get her in the right position, can cast Wailing Winds with a communion. As long as she has 8 communion slaves, she can drop Wailing Winds, and that will make everyone on the enemy side fearful, and their mages will run away, and it's honestly disastrous to get hit by Wailing Winds if you're not specifically prepared for it. And there's no reason he should be prepared for it because, of course, he doesn't know that I have this capability. So what we'll do is we'll cast Stygian Skin, just to give time for the communion to happen, and then Wailing Winds. Or we could actually cast Darkness. Don't my troops have Dark Vision? Yes, my troops have... Well, no, my Moss Knights don't. Yeah, never mind. My troops don't have Dark Vision. I was hoping. These guys have Spirit Sight, but plus Darkness would only really help his skeletons. You have to anticipate Skelispan. Same thing with, like, Rigor Mortis. Like, there's no reason for me to cast Rigor Mortis because he's going to be casting Rigor Mortis on me. So, But I can definitely cast Wailing Winds, Stygian Skin, Wailing Winds, and then cast spells, set up conservative magic gem usage, and that should... The goal of that, obviously, is to rout his mages. I could also really use Relief, because as I said, he's probably going to use Rigor Mortis on me. Unfortunately, Relief is one of those things that I don't actually have a good way to access. Mass Regeneration, yes, but Relief requires Nature 5, and I can't access Nature 5. I can do Nature 4 spells, but I can't do Nature 5 spells. So, unfortunate, but probably not fixable. So we've got how many Communion Slaves? 1. We've also got Radavad scripted to cast Anti-Magic, which I think is a great idea. So let's give him some gems. You're scripted to Magic Duel and then Communion Slave. Let's cancel that out. So, Communion Slave, 1, 2... you just cast spells, you're not very useful. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15... We have 15 Communion Slaves, so that means that I can script... where's my saved script? I must have overwritten that script. Let's go Communion Master, Earth Power, and then we will drop rocks. We're going to save that there. I can now do 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, now as soon as I hit Thaumaturgy 9, which is what I'm working on right now, I'll also be able to do some hilarious astral things, but I really have to get Arcane Nexus up first, so I can't deploy gems to do that. In fact, casting all these Vengeances of the Dead is really kind of slowing me down. Like, I'm almost tempted to cancel them all, because that's like 20 Astral Pearls going into trying to kill his god. Actually, I am going to cancel that. I'm not going to do that, because killing his god, while it would be nice, is pretty secondary, really. So, research. Research. You can see my gem income ticking, my gems ticking up quite quickly. Yeah, okay, yeah, 101 gems is a much nicer place to be when I'm trying to cast a 150 gem spell. So 101, 145, and then I'll alchemize, and I'll be able to cast with a pretty significant overcast. And I don't think anyone else should be able to dispel, at least not immediately. Hopefully not. Now, Om Nom Nom has a ton of gems available, as I've said. Maelstrom, Well of Misery, Mother Oak. Between them, that's 31... 46, 51, 54, and then one of each other gem type, so it's almost 60 gems. It's pretty disgusting, to be fully honest. You can also research. Spend no gems, please. Just spend no gems whatsoever, even water gems. Okay. Yep, think that's going to be the turn. We've got some scouts sneaking around. Got you sneaking around. Also, interesting thing today. In this turn, we got to see one of Lothric's high-level summons, the Dragon Knight. So, the Dragon Knight, I'm not sure if it's a summon or a multi-hero. I haven't checked. I think it's a summon. But in any case, Dragon Knights are commanders that are riding dragons. So they have high combat speed, they can fly, they've got high defense skill, and they have, in addition to all the normal knight attacks, they also have a fire breath from the dragon. I'm not sure. I think probably if the knight dies, the dragon stays, but I'm not entirely certain. In any case, this Dragon Knight is actually very heavily geared for a human HP thug. It's kind of funny. He's got elemental armor, a vine shield, and a firebrand. So that's 35 gems worth of gear. Pretty heavy. Now, of course, I've given my thugs heavier. But to be fair, my thugs are more resilient in the HP department. In any case, he sent this guy out to deal with this random Ivy King who had taken a province from him. The Ivy King had no gems, so all he could do was cast Nature's Self buffs, which include making him more vulnerable to fire, which was, of course, a poor decision. So they just all cast buffs on each other, on themselves, rather, and then incoming dragon. This dragon, by the way, Dragon Knights are Air 2, so they're like, and Priest level 1, so they're like the perfect human HP thugs. They're a lot like Van Jarls, actually. And boom, dead. Good job, Dragon Knight. Beyond that, lots and lots of battles. I reconquered Sinifé, as we saw. I bounced a Hollow Knight off Green Coast. And Orlando attacked Satis in 2 places and has broken, or is besieging forts. So actually, I think these forts have both been taken. Yeah, they just stormed both those forts. They've got a large army down here, including the King of Banefires, and they are pushing Satis hard. Satis's troops, it kind of feels like Satis is concentrating on me, but he's not really. These guys aren't useful, or aren't nearly as useful anywhere except underwater. So he's fighting me because I'm the underwater one, which is, you know, reasonable. But we'll break that, and my goal here, actually, like, obviously my goal is to stop Satis from winning, but secondarily, my goal is to get Arcane Nexus up and keep it up long enough that my lead in Astral Pearls becomes pretty much unsurmountable. Which I think I can do. I'm also going to put all these items back in the, while I'm talking, going to put these back in my treasury, because I don't need them to be deployed right now, and having them in the treasury helps me keep track of who has what. So, as I was saying, I'm thinking that I'm going to try to make peace with Satis at some point here. Possibly in the next couple of turns. Threaten him, basically. Make him feel like I can do damage, and then go like, look, I'll sign a non-aggression pact if I get Narian C back. Also, I'm going to try to gather some troops here, and try to take out Sugaron. Sugaron here is not boosted, so he can be soul slain, he can be mind hunted, and I can also just send troops to attack him, because I don't think he has a whole bunch of gems. And without a whole bunch of gems, he can't summon a whole bunch of water elementals. And summoning water elementals, as I said, is what you have to do to be effective. Yeah, he generates 1 water gem per turn, but 1 water gem won't do it. So, yeah. That's the positioning. That's the turn. Oh, you can stop doing that as well. In fact, all of you can just move up here. Robodan, bounce again to level up. Padro is a ways away from leveling up, but down here I actually have 2 that are very close. Kimaru will level up from 1 successful battle, or Simaru, and Fomoric isn't far behind him. A few battles will level Fomoric up. So Simaru is about to be Astral 2, Death 2, at which point he becomes a lot more threatening. Because he can Skelethan by himself, with an Astral booster he can teleport, he can do all sorts of crazy shit. And of course I've got Domar. Domar actually doesn't need to be there, I don't think. Well, he can help fight Shugoran, so that's fine. And up here, we've got these troops just moving in to attack this palisade and cause a threat. And then they'll probably just move. I don't think they'll stay there and try to take the place because there's a big communion right here. And he might try to, like, enslave all my troops or something. And that would be sad because this is 30 Great Sentries. And Great Sentries are super radical. Also, I am getting diseases because I am, of course, in Satis's domain. And being in domain gives you diseases when it comes to Satis. So that's also super sad. Like, this army that I'm sending out down here is going to get a ton of diseases, and there's nothing I can do about it. Genuinely nothing. I just have to burn down his temples as quickly as I can. So, in any case, that's the turn. I'll see y'all on turn 62. Alright, folks, it's turn 62. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff, but here's the thing that actually matters. Bugsy Siegel is casting Arcane Nexus with an 80-something gem overcast. There is an empty slot for it to fit into. The overcast is just to prevent it from being immediately knocked down. At least I hope it'll prevent it from being immediately knocked down, because I'm spending fucking 200 gems on the damn thing. 230, almost. Literally every gem I possess is going into exactly that. So, I've got a whole bunch of scouts here that I haven't actually been moving, so we're just going to kind of scattershot those wildly into Satisian territory. Satis is looking kind of beat up these days. They're taking a lot of damage. This turn, I took that province back, I took that province, besieged that fort, I hit this province and cracked that fort. I'm moving an army towards province number 5, and I think with the magic that I have available, I might actually win. I've got anti-magic going down, I've got my communion, I've got a bunch of guys spamming Soul Slay, which isn't actually the most effective use of their time. I could hook them into the communion and have them spam Enslave Mind instead, and so I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to go Communion Master and Enslave Mind. We're going to copy that, and we're going to give it to you. And to you, and to you, and to you. And then we've got a bunch of people doing gifts from heaven. One of them is summoning earth power. One of them should do iron skin. One should do personal luck. One should do temper flesh. And one can do let's say iron will. Well, no, because I already have anti-magic going off round 1. So I don't need that. One can do Twist Fate. Okay, so then these guys will drop gifts from heaven. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gifts from heaven casters. We've got this guy dropping Iron Bane, which won't hurt me, but will hurt him. Then we've got Communion Slaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I should have probably have more than 9, so I'm thinking that I should transmute one of my gifts from Heaveners, the Twist Fate, into a Communion Slave. That's fine. I've got Howl going down. I've got Serpent's Blessing and then Mass Regeneration, which will help keep my troops active on the field. And, of course, I have the Wailing Winds to cause the whole enemy army to have to take morale checks. So I'm moving down into Ninhaboa in an effort to take that throne. I'm not sure where this army is going. I had mentioned that I was going for 5 for the Throne of Death, but I might anticipate that he's also going for the Throne of Death, so we could collide. Unfortunately, I'm doing this turn with an hour to spare, so I've shot Herdalas a message saying that he shouldn't, but I don't know if he will. And there's no way for me to actually, like, do anything about that. So we'll just hold an attack rear with these 73 of these guys. And you should hold and stay behind troops. And so Manvale will be jumping in, this army will be jumping in, this guy will hide. There is the People's Death Match going on this turn. And I could send somebody to compete, but I don't actually have anybody who'd be much good. So if we look at the People's Death Match, worldwide event. So spellcasting is not allowed. All participants will get a slave color. And Pretender Gods and Disciples are not allowed to compete. Unfortunately, so like I could potentially send Hegemol, but I don't wanna. I could even gear him, actually. I could gear him somewhat, because I've got quite a few items sitting around right now that I'm not using. But I don't think it's worth it. So, we're going to take these 30 Ichthyids. Limni, the Queen of the Lake, is just rampaging along with her water elementals here, and they're just killing things. There's no stopping them. You can't stop the water elementals. We're collapsing troops down here onto the Isle of Ice to keep these water gems for ourselves. I'm hoping that this Sea King will come and attack. If he does, I think we'll actually beat him because he doesn't have gems. And so we've got Robodan, we've got Hegemol, we've got Domar teleporting into, or blinking into the back to do some damage. We've also promoted one of our Hollow Knights. So if we look here, we can see that, where'd he go? Yeah, Simaru. Simaru is now Astral 2, Death 2, which is fan-fucking-tabulous. Fomoric is still a little ways away from being that level. So with Astral 2, Death 2, he can now cast more spells. None that are, like, super useful yet, except that he can now cast Soul Vortex, which is sort of hilarious. So, what I'm thinking is, I may actually take Simaru off on his own hawk. Because he can't go underwater because he doesn't have that capability, but he could go over here to hold the fort down, and we could take one of Kim's death gems, or two of Kim's death gems, give them to Simaru, and then Simaru can Personal Luck, Skeletal Body, Twist Fate, Astral Shield. Instead of Skeletal Body, which only helps against piercing damage, we can cast Soul Vortex. And also, of course, we could, if we wanted to, just start spamming Horde of Skeletons, which would also be a decent way to raid. But since he's heavily geared, we can drop Soul Vortex there. So Personal Luck only costs 10 fatigue now. Soul Vortex, which will cost 40. Twist Fate, which will cost 5, and then Astral Shield, which will cost 10. He doesn't have any extra reinvigoration, unfortunately, but the Soul Vortex, if he's fighting, will do that for him. So Simaru will do that. He's pretty well protected, albeit not entirely. And he needs to gain 100 experience to promote into another unit. He's at 51 right now, so he needs to be going out and getting some kills. Get some kills for his bad self. Fomoric, meanwhile, just sticking with the army. Now we're going to roll in, and we should be able to break this fort, actually, because we've got 329 siege strength there. There's another 200 hopping in, and Gabrusius has over 300, so a total of like 900 siege strength is going to land on this fort like a truck, and should break it instantaneously. When that happens, it's going to be an interesting scenario. Now, I'm going to set you on conservative gem usage, and you're already on conservative, because I desperately need to conserve nature gems. And the Ironbane. Yeah, we'll leave the Ironbane. So it's kind of a question of whether he wants to come out and try to fight me outside his fort or not. This, interestingly, has been taken by horrors, which must be an attack from Lothric, spamming horrors at them. And yeah, we're just gonna see what we can do with it. So we're gonna try to retake these provinces behind the water people. We do have 2 Queens of the Deep, so the other Queens of the Deep are up here. So once again, there's really no competing with Satis underwater at this point. I'm just sort of raiding around and doing what I can. In fact, Domar could actually hop down there if I didn't think he was going to end up being hit. And yeah, everybody else is just researching because I'm burning all of my gems, pouring them into a massive Arcane Nexus, which will be great. And in terms of money, I do still have some. So let's, not those guys, let's spam out some more of these guys for hopping around purposes. Give them another captain. Le Capitan. We've got a shaman coming out there. Got great sentries. I really should not have gone sloth. Just solely for those great sentries. Those great sentries alone I would love to have. I'm actually going to cancel some recruitment in these provinces because I want to finally build a lab here. Oh no, I have a lab here. Why can't I recruit? Oh, I need a temple. Temple. Because all my mages are holy. And I've got some flying dudes up here. So what I need is I need a captain. And more flying dudes. Okay, that'll be that. And then up here I've got mage coming. And here, oh, I have no mage. That's bad. I need mage. Must mage have? Ooh, I can't afford a... That's not good. I don't like that. What is the story event? Ah, the fertility cult. Fuck that. Nobody cares. There we go. And so we can get another mage up there. Excellent. Great. Fantastic. So, if the Arcane Nexus goes off, then next turn should be very, very interesting. In any case, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 63. Okay, folks, it's turn 63, and we have got Arcane Nexus up. So we'll see how valuable it is next turn. We got hit by Leprosy. Lots and lots of battles, mainly fairly small. We got a Taskmaster bounced off Vepitre. In Linshire, Satis attacked and Orlando, beat them. In Nom, we were beaten by these Saticians, who wiped out our leaderless Hallownest Lancers. In Triton Sea, the Sea King moved. In Mountains of Madness, our Hollow Knight bounced. In Alluvia, we were hit by the Queen of the Lake once again. We really have nothing to stop her, unfortunately. Lots of fighting between Anorlando and Satis. Here, Anorlando attacked Satis and lost, and they lost their Queen of the Clouds. If it hadn't been for that, this would have been a pretty good battle for them, because yes, they only inflicted a net of 16 casualties, but they killed 10 Marshmasters. And 10 Marshmasters is a not inconsiderable amount of mage power. But unfortunately, they lost Nephili, who was lightly geared and not very well defended, I would say. So over here on the other side, you can see we've got a pretty thick communion going on. We've got Mist Form, but Rigor Mortis and Foul Vapors are both up, and there is no poison resistance. So the Foul Vapors is gonna do it to them. The crossbows are firing. The Silver Knights are advancing. We've got, holy crap, that's a national spell or something. More Mist Form, Terror. More national lightning spells, tons and tons of skeletons. I don't know what that was. That was Quagmire. Yeah, the Satis is just playing the delay game. Lots of sylphs down over here, which are basically small air elementals who cannot trample. They attack Lightning Swarm, which is they attack with the Lightning Swarm, which is a very dangerous attack. And beyond that, it looks like that was a mass protection. Lots of little minor spells going down, lots of banishments. And yeah, it looks like the attack rear may have been what put paid to some of those mages. But beyond that, it's mostly skeletons that are dying here. And they're just not dying fast enough to really matter. The Silver Knights are getting dragged down, especially when they fight the Sobek Sacred Guard. They're tough, but they're not quite that tough. And yeah. So they just get slowly chopped down. And with, do we have Life After Death active? I think we must, because we have a Soulless Giant. And we have a bunch of, some of the mages have turned into Soulless as well, I believe. Yeah, a Soulless Warrior. Ah, okay, so it wasn't actually all that bad, because Life After Death is, popping on these mages as they die. So we've got a whole bunch of Soulless Warriors who are Commander Mages. Okay, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like they may all have managed to turn into Soulless. He may not actually have lost any mages. So never mind, this was a huge defeat for Anorlando. And Nephili, it looks like, is not running because she is fatigued out, and so is going to die. Goodbye, Nephili. Alas. So sad. So yeah, if we look at the units... so the Soulless Warriors, looks like he gained... Well, no, because he gained 6 Soulless Warriors, but he lost 10 Marshmasters, so he did lose 4 mages net. Still, very much not worth losing 4 mages. I mean, very much worth losing 4 mages to kill this. Very much not worth killing 4 mages. In Strongdale, Man is attacking Independence. Anorlando, that was... Yep, that was the battle. No, this was a different battle. So Anorlando's 2 armies both just got wiped out. This one did more damage. 2 Marshmasters, 10 Shamans, 2 Witches, so heavy casualties, but sustainable and worthwhile. To kill 5 Lord Hierophants? Oh yeah, absolutely. You trade 10 Shamans for 5 Lord Hierophants every day and twice on Sundays. Plus 2 Lords Arcane, and 3 Clerics. Yeah, that was painful for Enorlando. Enorlando may kind of be out of the war at the moment. We've got a monster board, don't care. Extra attacks, nice. Growth, Earth gems, gold and a Bear Claw talisman, and a Dread Isle in Inarime, which is kind of cool. Satis won the arena deathmatch, I think because nobody else bothered to go. He got the Champions Gladius. Ettins have attacked Lothric, and we lost a couple of scouts. We have breached 2 forts, and Quellen, the Hollow Knight, has reformed his body and is ready to rejoin the war. So, we're storming this fort. This is my main army here. He may be able to beat me, even with my Wailing Winds. He might. I'm tossing a lot of Enslaved Mind. I've got Serpent's Blessing, Mass Regen, Howl all going down. What I don't have is Relief. So I am going to get punished very, very badly by the Rigor Mortis, unless I can end the fight early. So I've got a few people throwing Gifts from Heaven. I've got Wailing Winds going down. I've got a lot of Enslaved Mind. I'm hoping that that can cut through the chaff quickly enough to matter. Gabrusius was beaten off here in Andoria. I know you're going to take that wrong. I'm just going to keep saying it. You can see here, this army just wiped out poor Gabrusius's force, but he managed to escape with the Gate Cleaver, and that's really what matters. So this army will probably be coming down to fight me. I'll probably lose, I want to say, but I'm hoping that I'll at least inflict a ton of damage on the way down. I've lost all of my water. I have nothing that can compete with the Queens of Water underwater. They're just too buff. They're geared up as powerful and expensive super combatants, and I don't have a good countermeasure to them. If the Queen of the Lake comes above ground, I can teleport a whole bunch of Astral Mages on top of her and just cast Soul Slay literally 1,000,000 times, and eventually she will fail her save and die. But underwater, I can't do that. I don't have the option to do that underwater, so unfortunately, they just rule the waves. And they're colonial age Britain, and there's nothing much I can do about it at the momento. Now we got some more flying troops over here. So we'll give those to Onbeck, and Onbeck will buzz up this way. This army is assaulting this fort just because it's speculative. This army is heavily diseased because they're deep in Satis's dominion. This is the problem with attacking Satis. They disease you. So this army is probably going to explode and die, which is a shame. But if he doesn't come out, if he gambles on me not doing that, then I will manage to take the Palisade, which will be kind of neat. And beyond that, we're just kind of waiting for Arcane Nexus to kick in and give us a whole bunch of shit. He hit me with leprosy here, which is why a bunch of my mages are diseased and going to die. That's a huge bummer. It's not something that I can stop right at the moment. I could potentially forge Rings of Regeneration in order to save them. But beyond that, my only option would be to get hold of Nature 5, if I recall correctly, and forge the Miraculous Cure-All Elixir. I don't have the Nature Gems for it, and I don't have Nature 5, and I don't have an easy way to get Nature 5. I pretty much top out at Nature 3 without Empowerment, and of course, since I just spent all my gems casting that Arcane Nexus, so I can't Empower. So, gonna lose some mages there. Unfortunate, but it's just a cost of doing business this late in the game. And we'll see if the Arcane Nexus will help me turn the tide. I am researching Thaumaturgy, so I'll get up to Master Enslave, and that, of course, will change things a little bit. I'll also have Soul Drain, which is kind of cool. I could potentially get a Communion onto the field, and throw down Soul Drain with a Death guy carrying a Skull Stick, maybe an Astral Booster or two. That's a possibility, because the Soul Drain should apply to the Communion Slaves as well. So this just basically hits everybody on the battlefield with a life drain attack every round. So it will hit the mages. That's the important thing. Like, yes, Satis will spam Long Dead, which won't be affected by the Soul Drain, but their mages would be. And so if I could kill off some of their mages, that could be useful. It'll also give me Black Death, which I can potentially cast, although probably not immediately. I have Plague. And I have Leprosy. I could throw Leprosy back at him if I had a Death 5. I don't think I have any Death 5s at the moment. Yeah, the highest I have right now is Death 3. So, we'll see what we can do. I am spamming Vengeance of the Dead at Andoria. Where is Andoria? Remind me what province that is. Ah, yes, this province. I'm throwing a whole bunch of Vengeance of the Dead here in an effort to try and kill a couple of his Marsh Masters. It's worth spending the random Astral Pearls to do that, especially because I anticipate getting a whole bunch of Astral Pearls next turn. So, that's turn 63. I'll see y'all in turn 64. So far, I would say the war against the Tis strategy is only very slightly working. As I said, Anor Londo has been pretty much beaten up. They've got a lot of Wraith Lords down there. They've lost 2 of their armies. Lothric is slowly making progress and is besieging Dardania. I'm besieging this fort, but very likely going to lose it, like right now. In fact, what I could do here is, because this army is a big threat, if I wanted to avoid being sandwiched, which is this is probably actually a good idea. It's probably a good idea to just attack, leave Topagog to maintain the siege, and this army charges into this army, which I anticipate will be moving towards me. Now, the problem with that is this army may not be able to... Oh, no, this army will be able to break this fort if they... Yeah, that should work. That does mean I don't have a chance of taking the Throne of Death, and I would really like to take the Throne of Death, so I'm going to storm the castle. We'll see how it goes. In any case, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 64.